Testing 1, 2. Very good. Folks, before we begin, if you could all silence your cell phones, please. So folks, good morning and welcome to Willowdale Chapel here in Kennett Square. More importantly, welcome to this service of remembrance and in celebration of the life of Jeffrey Volpe. My name is Matthew Grieco. I'm a longtime funeral director and celebrant in the community, honored to be the celebrant of this service today. More importantly, I am a friend of about 6 years now of Barbara. She and I got to know each other at Jenner's Pond on a board of directors for the residents community. Sort of a liaison between the residents of Jenner's Pond and the administration. And so we got to know each other and formed a friendship. And so when Jeffrey passed, I was honored that she called me to guide her through this process of creating a memorial event that would capture the spirit of Jeffrey, that would be open to friends and family. She hasn't done this before. This was difficult at times for her, but we walked her through it, and she's a trooper, and a lot of engagement back and forth, and I'm confident that we've created an event that, most importantly, will allow her to start to heal. And I always say to folks that a memorial event, really, it's the first step in the grief process. So important that we do this. Even though his passing was several months ago, it's good that we're here. So thank you to all of you, friends, family. Some of you have traveled a distance to be here, and I know you're warming Barbara's heart today by being here, so thank you. We want to continue with a scripture reading, and I'm going to invite to the podium Kathy Elrod.
Good morning. Today's scripture comes from John 11, verses 25 and 26, and John 14, verses 1 through 3. I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Let not your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And when I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and will take you to myself, that where I am, you may be also.
Thank you, Kathy. Barbara's sister, correct? Yeah. So I'm glad she's here from Tennessee today. Yes, okay, good job, Kathy. So folks, I'd like to introduce a very good friend of mine, composer, musician, conductor of music at local Church of the Advent in Kennett Square here, Wilson Summers, for a music selection at this time. Thank you, Wilson. Thank you, Wilson. So folks, at this time, I'm honored to share a little bit of Jeffrey's life story, as I call it. And I always say that it's difficult to sum up an entire life in just a few minutes. But when I have great participation from the family, as I have with Barbara, there's plenty of good material. She did a great job in sharing his story, their story together, and it's my job to capture that and present it to you a little bit here at this time. So Jeffrey Allen Volpe was born July 21st, 1956. He did die suddenly this past April 8th, 2025, in his sleep of an apparent heart attack. Certainly, just a side note, we all know of folks that suffer from illnesses before their passing, and very difficult to watch. And then there's some, not many, that pass very quickly. Brutal on us as survivors, but certainly a blessing for him that he didn't suffer. So it's a mixed situation there, isn't it? A loss that we experience in life. Jeffrey is survived indeed by his wife, Barbara Croyle, here today, of course, and their cats, Obi and Oscar, not here today, but they send their regards. He is also survived by his brother Mark and his wife Mickey, his brother Herman and his wife Sharon, and his sister Kathy Davis and her husband Ron and their children. He was predeceased by his parents, Herman Volpe Jr. and Laverne Helen Russ Volpe. Jeffrey lived most of his life in the Cleveland, Ohio area with his sister and brothers. His mother died when he was young. She was a nurse, which is probably where he got his excellent nurturing skills. We'll hear more examples of his nurturing personality later. Jeffrey went to work in life as soon as he could, and when he worked hard. Many of you co-workers know that. He started his career in trucking as a mechanic and worked for Roadway Express, which was founded in 1930. There he learned some habits and skills that helped him in all his future positions at other companies. He learned how to organize his time, his work area. He learned how to organize his paperwork and his thoughts. These are practices that he kept throughout his life as he moved up the ladder into management. But he was also happy to share these skill sets with others who worked with him during his career. This really set him apart. Barbara knows this because this is how he helped her keep things straight at home as well, or shall we say he tried. Barbara shared that he would often walk into her office thinking he could help her get organized and simply turned around, leaving shaking his head. Barbara admits she doesn't know much about his early years, but she knows he went to Catholic school as a child, and that school was not a place that he really enjoyed. Knowing now about his hard-working career that I've learned about, he was probably more interested in working, making money, than sitting in class, I suspect. What he did enjoy in his younger years was boating with his brother Mark and his wife. He would tell Barbara many stories of his times on Lake Erie, and particularly liked to regale her with stories of harrowing, scary times on the water. She's not sure all of those were true stories, but particularly the ones about the Father's Day regatta. But he always ended those stories with, "It's a wonder I'm still alive." Barbara met Jeffrey in 2003. As the story has it, he moved to Delaware to take a job as director of service at what was then Harvey Truck Center. Barbara had moved to Delaware to take a job at Cokesbury Village, which at the time was part of Peninsula's United Methodist Homes. They moved in across the hall from one another in the apartment complex, Greenville Place. But their schedules were different, and they did not meet initially until one Saturday in April when they both came home at the same time, each with bags of groceries. They opened their doors at the same time, and Barbara's cat, Ijo, which is Japanese for loving, ran out of the door and into his apartment and under his bed. She remembers being very embarrassed. But Jeffrey got the cat removal tool, aka the broom, and she managed to get her cat back. She apologized. Jeffrey said he liked cats, and the next day there were cat treats at the apartment doorstep. And although they didn't know it at the time, that was the beginning of their life together. In retrospect, They always believed it was divine providence. Barbara and Jeffrey then married in 2006 after 3 years of dating. In the early years, they spent time on his boat until their lifestyle changed and he sold the boat so they could spend more time and money on traveling to other places. We can agree, the C&D Canal can be a fun place, but for many years, or after many years, a change of scenery is probably welcomed. When they traveled, they always looked for a lighthouse to visit, and you probably saw some of the lighthouses that we had in the slideshow here. In fact, they were married at Bodie Island Lighthouse in the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and a lighthouse is the tree topper on their Christmas tree every year. To them, it symbolized the light of God that protects each of us on our life's journey. I like that. They also liked to visit antique stores. When they first started doing this, they would exclaim over the things that they saw that reminded them of their grandparents. But in later years, these things and others reminded them of when they were growing up, right? They began to realize that they were, in fact, becoming the antique. A phenomenon I believe anyone starts to experience over 50, shall we say. I'm 52, so I'm starting to feel that way. While visiting these antique stores, they would always look for something that would make a nice lamp. You see, Jeffrey enjoyed lighting things up, i.e., putting the lights in reconditioned lamps, jars, Halloween or Christmas decoration, the list goes on, or anything he thought could be improved with lights. Barbara and Jeffrey had a big yard, and one year she suggested putting a couple of Christmas trees in the yard to decorate. He latched onto that idea, and together they grew that display to over 35 trees at Christmas. Luckily, the neighbors did not complain. I'm thinking of Chevy Chase in the movie Christmas Vacation at the moment, just a little bit. Jeffrey liked trains, so together they would take scenic train rides whenever they could. He particularly liked the train museum in Strasbourg. He often said that if he had his life to do over, he would have been a train engineer. On one of his birthdays, Barbara surprised him with a weekend in a hotel that was made up of cabooses, so they stayed in a caboose. He loved it, also in Strasbourg. I'm sure many of us have been past that. They had talked about a trip to Idaho, and Barbara had already found a place, I love this, where they could stay in a potato. I can only imagine. Guess we won't know what he would have thought of that, but it sounds interesting, doesn't it? Jeffrey's favorite movies were anything with a man-eating shark and or dinosaurs. So of course, he watched Jaws or Jurassic Park or Game of Thrones a lot. They also loved to visit aquariums or any place with dinosaur statues. At the time of his death, he was living here in Pennsylvania and working at home for Battle Motors as director of service. And I'll share thoughts from some of his coworkers here shortly. He was in the trucking industry for 50 years, including Roadway, Sidley, Harvey, Truck Center, Star Gas, and Brown and Root. He always gave 100% and more to any employer, and he loved to mentor, teach, and guide those with whom he worked. He truly cared about them and their families. It troubled him greatly when there was a health issue with someone on his team or with their children or their parents. He really cared. He could sometimes identify and fix a truck problem over the phone. Barbara called him the truck whisperer. Because he often worked in the dining room and Barbara spent the day on the computer upstairs, she often overheard his phone consultations. If there was one thing that drove Jeffrey nuts, it was bad communication, i.e. emails that did not include enough information to address the issue, or long threads that some said nothing of importance. Well, I think we can relate to some of those, right? He would often ask Barbara to read something and say, "Can you understand this, Barbara? Seriously?" Which was, of course, rhetorical. His favorite phrases with his team or others that he talked with on the phone were, "Living the dream," or "It doesn't get much better than this," and "It is what it is." I love all those phrases. Jeffrey and Barbara adopted cats with special needs so that they could have a good life. Together they rescued or cared for Ijo, Yuki, Cleo, Chiba, Marcus, Ollie, Benny, Casey, Obi, and Oscar. That's a rehab center for cats, that's for sure. The last two, Obi and Oscar, are still alive. And Jeffrey also rescued plants, spiders, turtles, or anything, frankly, that needed help. Potted plants that someone would leave by the side of the road would be placed in the truck and brought home to be nursed back to health. A turtle crossing the road would be gently lifted to safety. He had tremendous respect for all living things. He was a beloved husband, as we know, and always sought ways to make life at home easier for both of them. All the lights were on timers. Did we mention he was organized? He often referred to himself as a curmudgeon and loved to wear his curmudgeon t-shirt, but that was meant to hide his softer side and warm and caring heart. He liked to make people laugh and would often say in the hearing of others, in a grocery store, for example, "Jeff Volpe, man of mystery." To which Barbara would reply, "Well, you are a mystery to me." He loved to have a conversation with a store clerk or someone at the gas station randomly, as an example. I'm now thinking of the insurance commercial where the broker tries to stop adults from becoming their parents, right? We have that commercial. I'm not even sure what the insurance is, but I love that commercial. Barbara and Jeffrey did everything together. All they needed was each other to enjoy life. And from all accounts, they did just that. Their favorite thing the past few years was to go for a ride on Sunday afternoon to nowhere in particular, listening to their favorite music, maybe getting ice cream, and stopping at an antique store. Barbara was the navigator. They still used paper maps, unless they really got lost, and only then would bring out the GPS. Jeffrey loved to tell corny jokes. The first one that Barbara ever remembers was this one. Jeffrey: "Well, I think I'm going to have to get a pie crust." Barbara, what's a pie crust? Jeffrey: "About $1.50 pie cost," right? You got that? Barbara laughed. Jeffrey was indeed the love of Barbara's life, and of course, she misses him every day. He taught her a lot, like how to back down the car down the driveway, and just generally made her a better person. They had always thought that she would go first, but God clearly had other plans. He called Jeffrey home too soon, we can all agree. While she misses him every day, she is forever grateful for the time they had together. In closing, although we know that after such a loss, the acute state of mourning will subside, we also know we shall remain inconsolable and will never find a substitute. No matter what may fill the gap, even if it be filled completely, it nevertheless remains something else. And actually, this is how it should be. It is the only way of perpetuating that love which we do not want to relinquish. Sigmund Freud in 1929. So Barbara wrote most of these words. I made it my own. Excellent job. I hope they resonate with all of you today. Before I pass the baton to others that would like to share a story, and I know there's several of you, and several of you have traveled here today, some coworkers, I'm going to share some words that were emailed to me, and I'll share these for a few of you right now. From Brother Mark Volpe. We will always remember Jeffrey as a kind and gentle, loving man. He was always there when we needed help or something repaired. He was a great fix-it man. We had many great times boating together, especially on our trips to Lake Erie Islands. We attended many parties and functions together and always had a blast. Jeff had many great friends here that always asked about him. Rest in peace, my brother. Love, Mark. His sister-in-law, Mickey. I will always remember Jeffrey as unforgettably kind and thoughtful. He always was telling jokes and making everyone laugh. He was a wonderful brother-in-law and uncle. Our children were blessed to have him in their lives. Our oldest child could not say Uncle Jeffrey when he was younger, so she called him Uncle Fluff. Rest in peace, Jeffrey. You will always be in our hearts, and you will be missed dearly. Love, Mickey. His sister, Kathy. To my loving little brother, Jeffrey. He was a great man, animal lover, from snakes, dogs, cats, hamsters, and pigeons. He took care of them all. He was never hesitant to help others in need. I will always miss you, and I will keep you in my prayers. Love, Kathy. From friend and coworker, Julie Foster. We are all here today with heavy hearts, but more importantly, we are here to honor a truly incredible person in Jeff. If you were fortunate enough to know Jeff, you knew his life was defined by two great loves, his family and his beloved cats. This devotion to those in his inner circle was the core of his generous spirit. He had a unique way of making everyone around him feel completely seen and deeply valued. I just love that. For me, the image that will forever remain in the way is the way he consistently made time to check in, whether it was about my personal life or my professional path. He offered not just advice, but genuine, steady support. It was this genuine care and that exemplified the importance he placed on putting family first. Every interaction reinforced that value, and we were so fortunate to have a man like Jeff in our lives. Thank you, Jeff, for the seasons that I was allowed to know you. I will cherish the memory of your gracious offers of ice cream for my younger children, a small act of kindness that spoke volumes about your character. You will forever be in my heart. From Julie Foster. Coworker Blake Smith. One of my first traveling trips with Battle Motors, I was flying into Pennsylvania to help Jeffrey work on a truck. Jeffrey instructed me on a good place to stay nearby that was near good food and accommodations. He knew I would be flying in late that night, so he dropped off a six-pack of Miller Lite with the hotel hostess so I could have a nightcap. That little thoughtful gesture really meant a lot to me. I would always call Jeffrey when I would get stumped on a truck repair. Once I would page him in on a conference call. The customers used to ask, "How are you doing today?" Jeffrey never skipped a beat and always said, "It don't get no better than this, does it?" Jeffrey was not only my direct supervisor, he was my friend, mentor, and someone I could always count on. He never asked his team to do something that he wouldn't do himself. That's from Blake Smith. So folks, thank you. Some of you are here, forgive me, and some of these words were just emailed because you couldn't be here. But those are the stories that really cement the essence of this man, don't they? But I know there's more. So, who would like to come to the podium and share another story? Don't be bashful. And I can actually bring this right to you if you're more comfortable speaking from where you are. There we go. I think we have a slide for this young man here.
We'll see if I can get through this without tearing up. You have to apologize, I'll have to read it, I wrote it out. So on behalf of the entire team at Battle Motors, I want to extend our deepest heartfelt sympathies to Barb and all of Jeffrey's family and friends. We're all here today with heavy hearts, unified in grief to honor a man who meant so much to all of us. I had the privilege of working with Jeff. He joined our company in 2019, and for over 5 years, he was truly the heart of our service organization. He brought with him a passion and a deep knowledge that came from a long career and decades of experience. We learned that for Jeffrey, working as a factory representative had been a lifelong ambition, and one that we're very thankful that he was able to actually enjoy. I can tell you that he lived with that ambition and dedication and skill every single day, and his leadership was instrumental for the success of our operation. But more so, Jeffrey was so much more than just his title. He was a brilliant man, a mentor, a problem solver, and a friend to so many of us. His absence is profoundly felt, and we have truly lost a key member of the Battle Motors family. To honor his memory and the mark he left on his team, we gathered yesterday at our facility in New Philadelphia, Ohio, and dedicated a tree and a memorial stone in his honor. So it is our way to ensure that his steady presence and leadership will remain rooted with us always. So today our thoughts and deepest sympathies are with you, his family, who he loves so much. We share your loss and we miss him terribly. We're all so much better for having known him. So one of my favorite stories about Jeffrey, I've got a couple of them. So I had the pleasure of having Jeffrey as my direct report for 6 years. Wonderful man, and always was more than happy to help our customer base, make sure that everybody he talked to knew that they were important and everything. But there was one particular individual that every time he called, I would get a phone call. And Mike, I can't stand him. He's horrible. So one day I finally asked him, I said, Jeff, you always, what's the deal with this guy? And he said, you want me to tell you what's really wrong with it? Yeah, what's going on? Mike, he goes to Africa and he shoots the big kitties. What? He goes big game hunting. I just can't stand somebody to go out there and kill those big cats. I can't stand it. I was like, Jeff. Okay. The other great story that I had about him happened right before his passing. So I'm not going to name names, Robbie. But somebody decided it would be a great idea to get a plaque that we have jokingly placed on our website to order of our Chief Operations Officer, Cody Boggs, and just randomly send it to people whenever he knew they were having a great day. And Jeffrey became the recipient of that one day. I had no idea where it came from, and apparently he was so mad he threw it in the trash. And then found out what was going on later on, and Robbie may have had a few choice words come his way that day. But love Jeffrey. He was a fantastic man. I miss him dearly. And we'll keep you all in our thoughts and prayers and wish the best for all of you. Thank you.
Barbara, did you know about this dedication?
I had heard that maybe it might happen.
Yeah. So what a beautiful tribute. And you don't see that every day from your boss and company you work for after the fact. So well done, folks. Thank you. Anyone else? Again, I can bring the microphone to you if you prefer. And certainly you'll have opportunities later, too, at the reception, which is on site here, to share stories. If we could have Dana Wilkins come forward to read a poem.
Good morning. I do have something to share. My dad and I are neighbors to Jeff and Barbara, and one of the best things about being their neighbor is the awesome Christmas display that they put on every year. We absolutely look forward to it. We love it. It's like having our own personal Longwood Gardens, truly. It took them all day to put it up. It took them all day to take it down. And I recently said to Barbara that where they sit in their home to watch TV, they can't really even see the Christmas display. So I know that they did it for themselves, but they did it for us. The Dash by Linda Ellis. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that they spent alive on earth. And now only those who loved them know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel. And be less quick to anger and show appreciation more and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So, when your eulogy is being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? Thank you.
And it occurs to me that we are very proud of how Jeffrey spent his dash, aren't we? Yeah. If we could have Susan Volpe come forward. No? Oh, okay.
Hi, I am not related to Barbara. Our name does not have an E. We do know Wilson Summers from Tatnall School, where my grandchildren went. So it's a small world. But I know Barbara over 55 years. Over 55 years. We went to William and Mary together. We are sorority sisters. So it's very special for me to be here. But it is amazing how his name was Jeffrey Volpe. I was just like, wow. Would you join me in the Lord's Prayer, please? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Yeah, we are all connected one way or another, aren't we? And at this time, my good friend, Wilson Summers. Thank you, Wilson. If we could invite Christine Gordon, please.
Good morning, everyone. Hello. As we get to celebrate Jeffrey's life today, one of the things that comes to mind is he would probably say safety first, right? So just having a knee procedure recently, I came in the back door, so please forgive me there. Safety first. So, at the end of the day, remember me. To the living, I am gone. To the sorrowful, I will never return. To the angry, I was cheated. But to the happy, I am at peace. And to the faithful, I have never left. I cannot speak, but I can listen. I cannot be seen, but I can be heard. So as you stand upon a shore, gazing at the beautiful sea, as you look upon a flower and admire its simplicity, remember me. Remember me in your heart, your thoughts, and your memories of the times we loved, the times we cried, the times we fought, but they didn't, the times we laughed. For if you always think of me, I will never be gone. Remember Me by Margaret Mead. Thank you. I have a hard time saying this one. Philippians, okay, I had to practice that on my ride. 4:7-8. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is possible, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable. If anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. With a smile, and please always keep Barbara and Jeffrey in your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you for that benediction, Christine. She's a longtime friend of Barbara as well. Well, folks, listen, in the beginning, I suggested that this is the first step in the grief process, right? The ceremony, the gathering that we have to remember someone. And our goal, certainly today, was to bring healing to Barbara and to her cats. The cats are missing us today. But it takes a village, as they say. And so all of you, especially those that have traveled as company, thank you so much for your participation and being here today. Please do not run off. We have a reception that I believe has been prepared for you in our main entryway here. So please stay, mingle, have a bite to eat. And as we adjourn, we'll have some background music from our maestro, Wilson Summers. Go in peace, folks. Thank you.